I wanted to do for following up the season finale of Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir Season 5. Now, in the first part, I talked about Gabriel's wish, how his wish was for Natalie to be healed and to take on her illness for himself, which took away the rest of his time that he had left in his world, but allowed him to rest in peace alongside Emily, so that Natalie could be left behind to take Adrian. In part 2, we talked about why Marinette chose to forgive Gabriel and hide the fact that he was monarch, and what the consequences would have been had she not. Had she allowed Adrian to be known as the son of Hawkmoth, because that was the real reason for hiding that from Paris. Not because Gabriel's actions were forgivable, but because Adrian did not deserve to live with the stigma of being Hawkmoth's son, or the guilt that he would have felt for being Hawkmoth's son while he is Cat Noir, and also while he is friends with the people that his father hurt. Now, for this part, we're basically going to be talking about the themes of Season 5 and how this all ties into it. Now, this is something that I've talked about quite a bit during my reviews on this channel, and I've even made some discussion videos about this as well. I discussed this after episode 14 came out, and we learned that Marinette acted the way that she did, stalking Adrian, as a trauma response from when Kim broke her heart and pulled that cruel prank on her thanks to Chloe. And in that video, I talked about how that compares to Chloe herself, how both Chloe and Marinette have trauma-based behavioral issues, but while Chloe herself never did anything to improve herself, even after it was made clear to her that this was not a good way for her to live, and that if she wanted the things that she wanted, then she needed to change, she decided to double down and not change. Whereas Marinette, once she realized the source of her behavioral issues, she actually made the effort to change and improve on herself, so that by the end of the series, she was no longer keeping track of Adrian's schedule, she was no longer trying to control everything. She was able to have a normal, healthy relationship with Adrian, which, if you've been keeping up with my channel ever since I first joined this fandom, you know that that is something that I really cared about and just really wanted to see happen. And that was like my biggest criticism for so long, that Marinette had all this stalker behavior and was never called out for it. Nothing ever happened because of it, and Season 5 finally acknowledged that. However, Marinette and Chloe are not the only two people that have behavioral issues that needed to be addressed. And while you might be thinking, oh, well, I'm going to talk about Gabriel next, Gabriel is not actually the only person. I also want to talk about Kim. Kim did something very cruel to Marinette, which broke her heart and caused her severe emotional trauma. Now, he wasn't the only one responsible for it, because Chloe was the main antagonist here. She's the one who basically tricked Kim into doing this. But Kim himself says at the end of the episode that he didn't know. And he uses this as an excuse. That is the key thing here. He used it as an excuse. And then Undine comes along and says, that's not an excuse. You still hurt Marinette. And that makes Kim realize that even though he didn't know that Marinette actually did like him that way, and he didn't understand at the time that doing this to her would hurt her, it still hurt her. The fact that he hurt her still happened. And him not realizing that he was hurting her in the moment does not change that fact. He clearly has some sort of mental disorder going on. He's possibly on the spectrum. I can't, it's hard to say for sure because we don't really have enough characterization for Kim, but I have spoken to other people in the community who agree that Kim very well could be on the spectrum. It's just hard to say for sure. But he does seem to have difficulty with understanding how his actions affect other people, which is a common sign of autism. So that is very possible. However, there is a difference between recognizing that he could have the disorder that is causing it and using that to excuse the fact that he is hurting people. There is a huge difference there. And that is the point that they were making in that episode, especially in that moment, that even though he didn't know and didn't understand, doesn't change the fact that he hurt Marinette. And in the end, he does apologize because he finally realizes that even though it wasn't his intention to hurt her, he still hurt her. So he takes responsibility and apologizes to Marinette. And that is the part where Kim is forgiven. They also make another point to point this out earlier in the episode, where Marinette is talking with her friends about how awful Chloe is, and Rose makes an excuse for Chloe. The excuse is that Chloe can't help it because of her mother leaving her. And then Mylène comes in and says exactly what I've been saying. That's not an excuse. Mylène then points out that her mother also left her, but she doesn't bully Marinette, which is true. Mylène is recognizing here that just because Chloe has gone through trauma, it doesn't excuse her for abusing other people. She has a reason, but that reason is not an excuse. Kim had a reason. That reason was not an excuse. Chloe has a reason, but that reason does not excuse her actions. The difference between Chloe and Kim and Marinette is that Kim and Marinette recognized that their actions were inappropriate and they began work on improving themselves. Chloe did not. And while it is frustrating that Chloe did not get to have the redemption arc that they were building up for her in season 3, season 2 and 3, while that is frustrating, it is a good parallel to Marinette. Chloe is Marinette's antithesis. However you say that word. She is Chloe's opposite. She is her foil. For every positive that Marinette has, Chloe will have that negative. She is Marinette's foil. So when Marinette is put in a similar situation as Chloe, where she can recognize that she has negative behavior and is given the chance to improve on herself, she chooses to become a better person. And that is why a lot of people who look at the situation with all of the facts in mind have started to ease up on Marinette. I was actually talking with TVC in the comments of her review of episode 14, and I mentioned all of this to her, and she herself mentioned that it's like, yeah, if I can stop hating Marinette after being one of her biggest detractors and now kind of love her as a character, then there's really no reason to continue hating her. It's like, yeah, she was right. TVC has been seeing the signs of things that weren't necessarily Marinette's fault, and things that Marinette has been improving on herself for things that were her fault. And therefore, that has allowed TBC to look at Marinette in a new light, and she now likes Marinette. Obviously, Adrian's still her favorite character, I think. I'm pretty sure. He's still my favorite character. But just because we recognize that Marinette had these issues, it doesn't change the fact that she had the issues, but seeing her improve on herself helps us to understand why she had those issues and let go of those negative feelings towards her, because we can see that she is working on herself. She is getting better. Finally, we have Gabriel. And I've been saying this pretty much all of season 5, ever since we saw Gabriel decide not to put the thumb drive with the decoded grimoire in the past, so that his past self could fix the miraculous before Emily used it so that she never got sick, but instead chose his hatred for Ladybug over his love for his wife, and instead abandoned that plan to go and fight Ladybug and Cat Noir. In that moment, he chose Ladybug over his wife. And throughout the season, we see him continuing to choose Ladybug. He chooses her over Adrian, he chooses her over Natalie, and he chooses her over Emily. And the entire time, he uses his love of Emily and how much he misses her to excuse his actions. And as we've said before, it is not an excuse. He misses Emily, he loves Emily, and he wants her back. That is his reason. And that is a very valid reason to want to try to bring her back if you can, but it is not an excuse for hurting others in the process. While the final battle is going on, Marinette points this out to him. I'm just going to be calling her Marinette instead of Bug Noir because my brain just doesn't want to process the name Bug Noir. But throughout the fight, she tells him that she actually tells him that it's an excuse. She tells him that Adrian would not want this. Emily would not want this. He says he's doing it for their sake, but that is an excuse that he tells himself so that he can justify his actions to himself. He knows what he's doing is wrong, but he makes excuses so that he doesn't feel so bad for doing these wrong things. Marinette points that out to him. She tells him about how Adrian has been handling everything, how Adrian has been living his life. He misses his mother, he loves his mother, but he's still living his life. He found a way to move on and to be happy while honoring Emily's memory. And that is the key point. Adrian found a way to move on and be happy, but he still loves his mother. He still remembers her, and he still does what he can to be the best person that he can be, which is what Emily wanted for him. At the end, after Marinette finally gets the brooch away from Gabriel, and he de-transforms, and she's got him basically stuck there, she talks him down. She tells him, listen, this is checkmate. This is over. There is nothing that you can do to stop me. Regardless of what happens here today, I'm going to get the miraculous back. Life is going to continue on as normal. But Adrian is still going to suffer. You will die here today. You do not have much time left. You're going to die, and Adrian will be left all alone. That is the sad truth. Those were her lines. That is the sad truth. She forces Gabriel to finally accept the truth. That his actions are not what would make Adrian happy. They wouldn't make Emily happy. She tells him how Emily would be so proud of Adrian for being able to live his life and not let the loss of his mother change the fact that he deserves to live his life. He deserves to be happy. And he has chosen to be happy while honoring his mother. His happiness is what honors Emily's last wish. All she wanted was for Adrian to be taken care of and to be happy. That was all she wanted. She wanted the best for her son. And Marinette talking Gabriel down is what made him finally realize this. That he was not living up to Emily's wish. He was not honoring Emily with his actions. Yes, he missed her. Yes, he loved her. That never changed. But by clinging on to what used to be, he was not honoring what Emily was as a person. He didn't honor her. And so, when he realized that, Gabriel changed his wish, which we already talked about. He changed his wish to something that was selfless. His only request for making this wish that would end his life and give Adrian the best possible outcome, which was having Natalie around to take care of him. His only request in exchange for this was that Marinette spare Adrian of the knowledge that he was Monarch's son, which we talked about in part 2. Of everything that could have happened and just how bad it would have been if the world did know that Adrian's father was Monarch. Because it's not about Gabriel being Monarch, it's about Adrian being Monarch's son. His dying wish was that Marinette spare Adrian of that so that Adrian could have the best life possible. Marinette honored this, not because she forgives Gabriel and suddenly thinks that because he loved his wife means that his actions were justified, but because she loves Adrian and wanted to spare him of the knowledge that his father was Monarch and spare him of the scrutiny that he would face from the rest of the world for being Monarch's son. She basically... So, this is kind of hard to describe. Forgiveness is not for the sake of the person you're forgiving. It is for yourself. In that moment, Marinette let go of the anger that she felt, the hatred she felt, and the hurt that she felt. That is what it means to forgive. It is not to say that the person who hurt you is now free of any liability. It is to say that you are free of the negative feelings that their actions has caused you. They are responsible for their actions, and you are responsible for yours. So by forgiving the person who hurt you, it is not for their sake, it is for your own. And that is why Marinette chose to forgive him. It is why Marinette chose to forgive Kim. And it is why she chose to forgive herself. Marinette, Chloe, Kim, and Gabriel all did bad things. The difference is that Marinette and Kim realized what they had done, realized that there was no excuse for what they had done, and began the path to improve on themselves. And in order to do that, they have to forgive themselves. Once you realize that you have done something terrible, the first step to improving on yourself is to forgive yourself and let go of those feelings of guilt towards what you did. That doesn't mean you forget that you did that. Heavens no. You never forget that you did that. But you will allow yourself to move on and move past it. Gabriel did not have enough time left to be able to forgive himself, to seek forgiveness, and to grow and move on. He was going to die soon from cataclysm, no matter what he did. So instead, he chose to make a selfless act for the sake of the people he loved. And in turn, Marinette and Natalie are able to forgive him of his actions and move on. They do not forget, and they do not excuse his actions, but they do not allow themselves to hold on to the hurt that they felt from his actions, as a result of his actions. They allow themselves to move on, and that is the meaning of forgiveness, the true meaning. And that is why she did not tell anyone, because that's not the whole point. The point is forgiveness and not using reasons as an excuse. Your reason for your actions is step one. You have to recognize what your reason is. Step two is where things diverge. You can either hold on to your reason and use it as an excuse to continue your actions and blame the rest of the world but yourself, or you can take responsibility and take the steps needed to improve on yourself, to work on yourself, and to ensure that you never do those negative things again. That is the difference. Reasons are not excuses. And that is the theme of Season 5. Thank you guys for watching. Not only this video, but also the past 2 videos as well. If this is the first video of this series, then I highly recommend that you check out the other 2. There are links down below. But for now, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos from me. We do all sorts of fun stuff on this channel, including playing video games. We do art, and also sometimes talk about cartoons and anime. So if you enjoy this stuff, then be sure to ring that bell icon to never miss a video. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I hope you all have a very magical day.